Hi, it's Xanthe. I was just going to apply very minimal makeup. Yesterday I applied some foundations just to compare them, but I just used my hands, so that's considered heavy makeup for me because I prefer very subtle makeup normally. Just sort of knocking around in just this shoot here. As far as the colours are concerned, this kind of colour is quite soft or muted, and this one here is deep. So deep in general. Oh, I have trouble with this new headband. I keep snapping the plastic one, so I've got a wire one this time. The deep colours are generally darker than medium values. So if you imagine this sort of colour model, we've got light, we've got dark. The deep is, and we've got medium, so deep is sort of going towards the black rather than towards the white, if that makes sense. Whereas your brighter colours generally are around the outside here, the higher chroma. The deeper colours are sort of more these colours, bright colours are more sort of these colours, so just generally. But this is kind of a lighter colour, but it's not as light as this, or even this. Like this is white compared to this, you see. On this model, this colour would be a bit muted and not pale, but kind of lighter, but it's not my best colour on its own, but it's okay if you mix it, kind of thing. I'll just quickly show you with the Deep Autumn swatch. There aren't that many light colours in there, and these sort of swatches are only a guide anyway, but we've got like an off-white or a soft white cream. They call it a deep nude and stone, and then quite a lot of darks, and then I've just got a few other ones. Camel, which I don't love on me. Khaki, sort of medium to darks really. We have got a peach in there, which I don't particularly love on me. Just a little bit pale. And then a few medium ones, salmon, deep peach. The deep peach is better, I think. A few other ones which are a bit more vibrant. So some of them just a little bit too light, in my opinion. I'll just show you one with a soft white in it compared to this one. So this one's kind of more the cream family, but sort of a little bit greyed down. Whereas this one is, I should read this one more often actually, a soft white, and then the blue is kind of like a Prussian blue. It's like a dark blue that's got a bit of red in it. So kind of a different look, but you just can't be too fussy when you're in a low income like me. So it's kind of like what's available, what fits, what's comfortable. So anyway, let's just put a little bit of makeup on. I'm just going to moisturise. So I use this my staple moisturiser, Cetaphil, which is for sensitive skin. It's available in pharmacies and supermarkets. I think it might be Australia and New Zealand, but I'm not sure. But anyway, there are other similar brands, but I find this brand really good. I'm just going to apply a bit of balm to my lips. I've got a regular balm that I use sometimes, but I usually use this one here, which is called Simply Kawa Kawa. It says it's Kawa Kawa infused olive oil and beeswax, so it's quite good for sort of sensitive skin really. Just sometimes at night put it around this area where I'm prone to dermatitis. Anyway, I'll put that on just because my lips are feeling a little bit dry today. I sort of thought that maybe I will try and use this one, see what it's like as a concealer, because sometimes products are marketed, so you buy more stuff. So this one here was quite close to my skin tone. It's Lifter, Maybelline Lifter Pump and Glow 118. So medium coverage. So when I say full coverage, I put it on, full kind of one layer. yesterday, but I'm going to just try and use it sparingly today with a brush. And I'm just going to see how it performs as a concealer as well, just out of interest. I don't like wearing lots of foundation because you've got to use extra cleansers to remove it because of the silicone type base and everything, and it's just ends up stripping your skin, and I think that's one reason for sensitivity. But anyway, let's just use a tiny bit, which is slightly lighter than my skin tone, but it is kind of the same undertone as such, like it's slightly yellow, slightly muted, but kind of neutrally as well. But it's definitely not orange. So, so with the Deep Autumn, I'm considered warm, leaning neutral. Sorry, neutral, but slightly warm, but not so warm that into the, you know, when makeup just ends up being really orange a lot of the time. So I'm just going to use a small brush, and I'm just going to use a mirror so I can see what it's like on its own, just like for example under eye areas. It's the closest match to my skin tone. Now, often recommended to put a little bit of peach in shadow areas that look a bit blue or a bit sort of dark brown, but it's just you know, you got to try things, see how it works. Now I don't want to put too much product because I don't have too many yet, but you can get fine lines here, and some people have quite a lot of fine lines around here. I don't know whether my glasses, because I think they protect from UV light, help prevent that a little bit. But what happens if you put too much makeup, it can just settle into the lines and just make them more obvious. But I'm just going to apply this product because I think, well, serum concealers feel as thin as this anyway. So what's the difference really? Concealers sometimes are quite thick. So it was quite effective with the hyperpigmentation. I might still need to use, if I want to eliminate it further, use a thicker formulation of this one. This is the NYX Deep Peach colour corrector, but I'll just see what it's like. I'm just experimenting here. So most of the hyperpigmentation is just patchiness around here mainly, and then most of the redness is around here. So I might end up using, just use a little bit to start with a smaller brush, and then I'll go in with a bit my bigger foundation brush. So I just want to kind of minimise. There's a little bit, you know, slightly red around here. But I'll put less product on, it just one feels more comfortable, and also there's less to remove, so it's less irritating generally to the skin. And if you can hear some horrible saw noise in the background, the neighbour's getting busy with the power tools, which is a bit annoying. Right. So the hyperpigmentation often results from the sensitive skin, so you know, to get any scars or sun damage and irritation, it just can and I think it's often the case of people like myself who have mixed ethnicities. So my parents come from opposite sides of the world, so even just that, not even blended in properly, just a tiny bit has made a difference. Now I'm just going to go in with my larger brush here, with no product on it, just to blend it a little. Now what it does without using the peach is it does look a tiny bit ashy in that area, because you're going a tiny bit lighter, but it's not too bad, I think. I'm just going to put a little bit more with the foundation brush just on this area, I tend to have this, it's really weird when, especially on camera, I put my blush on and it kind of looks like really weird around here for some reason. So I'm not quite sure why. There's no obvious puffiness or anything around that area. And I'm going to put a little bit around here because it's a little bit of redness. So I haven't added any green colour corrector like I normally would. So just putting the tiniest amount on, just to kind of, so the thing is, you don't have to put concealer everywhere, I mean foundation everywhere, or even concealer everywhere. Now I'm just going to do something about the under eyes. I'm very tired, so I'm going to go in with a little bit of the peach. So we're going to go use a concealer that leans more peach. I don't know if you can see the comparison. So this one's close to my skin tone. This one is a little peachier. I'm just going to add a touch of peach. And it's also lighter, so I'm going to mix in a little bit of this dark peach as well, just to make sure we're not too light. And I'm just going to apply it to the darkest area, which tends to be just along that line a little bit. And it's also just a little bit more coverage. I'm still barely there makeup. Just a little bit dark on the inside corner there as well. I mean, you can't completely remove it, but it can just definitely reduce, just sort of, it makes it a little bit clearer, because the hyperpigmentation can make everything look a bit patchy. Now when I swatch testers in the stores, they usually in New Zealand have testers that you can, you know, it's good to smell the product, see if I just like the smell, you know, see what the colour is like interacting. You can tell very easily on the back of your hand whether the undertone is off, you know, whether it's too orange, too pink, too whatever. It can be a bit hard to tell when it's in bulk in the bottle, but you can get a fair idea. But the undertone, when you're talking about painting, is when you spread the paint out thin and you can see other colours or hues. So I think it's, you know, I think makeup has borrowed from that. So anyway, you know, if I was to mix that in and it would kind of disappear. Now the makeup artists, the pro ones, generally say that if you don't set your makeup, it will crease. But what they mean setting with powder. I've got this very fine powder, banana powder, which I quite like. So they usually say wait for several minutes. Probably had several minutes already. I like to use just a fluffy, smaller brush around the eye area. So just apply just a thin layer of powder. It's also, this particular powder is supposed to brighten a little bit. You can get powders in different coloured tints, so I prefer this one over a white powder because the white just sits on top of my skin, it's too light with the olive complexion. And then I'm just going to apply a little bit all over. I've got another powder too that's not as finely milled that I could use if I, you know, just wanted to even up my complexion a little. This powder, just using a tiny bit, doesn't feel drying at all, whereas some powders will feel very drying. Now, because my colouring is kind of bland, it does make a difference for me to add some lip colour and cheek colour. So I've pulled out a couple of options. So what I do is, you know, when I swatch my hand, I sort of think, oh, is that colour going to be alright with me? Now the peach here is a little bit light on me, but I kind of like the formulation of the other one, which I'll show you. These are These are Australian brands. If I get time I'll try and tell you which brands I like to use. So this one is called a Nude Berry. In comparison, I would usually use that one for, you know, it's got a mixture of a warm and cool, but I'm going to go slightly warm, see if we can create a little bit of a bronzer effect, given I don't really have a suitable bronzer, and I'm not sure if I would use one anyway. I do have one, but it's really strongly fragranced, but I have used it around this area just to even out things a little, because my face usually gets a little bit more tanned. So what I thought I would do is just add a little bit of this peach here, and it's quite moisturising because again it's got those plant oils. And this one is a Warm Terracotta by Miko Beauty. Now it is too dark on me if I use it full strength. See how it's really brown, but if I use just a tiny bit, I might actually just use the bit from my hand. Just use that just to, I'm just going to mix the peach in with it, just to add a bit of depth. See how that peach is a little bit brighter in comparison to this one, and just mix them together just to get something in between. I think might work alright, just to add a little bit of colour. And some people recommend keeping the blush above the nose level. Higher is supposed to give you a facelift, but others say to do come onto the apple of your cheeks. So look, it just depends on your preference and your face shape, to be honest. So some people are saying to go into this area, into the eye socket area a bit. That might help minimise that problem having with the blush kind of looking too much like a band. So just kind of, because people would say to me if they comment, go higher with your blush. I'm trying to go as high as I can, I'm nearly into my eyes. Okay, so anyway, I think that just adding a little bit of, you know, softer colour there. I don't bother, you know, with this kind of area because it's going to be, I'm going to chuck my hair out covered anyway. But because I've got a high forehead, if I did want to have my hair back, you know, could put some product of some sort, you know, contouring or whatever there. Now the lip colour is, got a couple of options I pulled out. This one is Sedona by Revlon. Most of my lipsticks are Revlons, just mainly because of the sales, but I like their creamy formulations and the colours. This one's a classic called Rim Raisin. So one little trick that I use is when I'm deciding, I think, oh yeah, those ones go fine with my skin tone. So these are kind of like a, you know, sort of a bit soft and medium. If I go lighter than that, it's a waste of time. It won't show up on my lips. So I know that if the colour looks that dark or darker, it's a good one for me generally, unless it's really, really bold. So I look at it like that and decide it's going to be much of a muchness, but I think I'm going to go with the Sedona one today because I feel like it goes a bit more with the cheek colour. So, but you can mix them together. That's how I get many more colours out of a dozen or so different colours. So I'm putting a little bit on. See how the colour, so when I'm swatching the back of my hand, it tells me, okay, these colours are fine with my skin tone, but with my lip, on my lip colour, because my lips are darker, you're going to get a different result. So it's going to look a little bit lighter, if that makes sense. So I don't generally want lip colours lighter than that. I'll show you a lighter one, as light as I would go. This one is Sunbronze by Max Factor. And what that one does is just adds a little bit of a shimmer, but used by itself it hardly shows up on my lips at all. I'm going to add a touch of that. And for my eyes, I'm just going to do something very simple, so just take that off. So I prefer moisturising lipsticks rather than creamy ones, and I never liked, what do you call them, those lip glosses. They just felt so sticky and tacky. I never liked them. So I've just pulled out a couple of options. I've got this one, which I think is discontinued because I got it on a sale for $5 New Zealand. Revlon Colour Stay Cream Eyeshadow in Caramel. Just thought they'd put a little bit of that on. Just I don't feel like wearing mascara today, so if I want very light makeup, I generally skip mascara and skip foundation all over, and just want to add mainly a touch of colour. So this one's just kind of similar to my skin tone, but just adding just a tiny bit of subtle shimmer. I've pulled out a couple of the Peachy palettes, and most of the eyeshadows I have are Peachy. They often have them in New Zealand at Farmers on special for 30% off. So I'm just going to use, because I've got the greens in here, a tiny bit of green. So I'm just going to use that dark green there. They're very, very pigmented, and they're reasonably priced. You know, they're the same sort of price as the Maybellines and the L'Oreals and all that kind of stuff. But just that tiny, tiny bit there goes a long way. Still got some left. So very pigmented, you know, quite nice, and it's got lots of colour options. And then I thought that I would just use some as an eyeliner. So I sort of find that, you know, getting older, so I'm over 50, 53 to be precise, I find that just softening things a fraction can be more flattering. As I never found liquid eyeliner very good anyway, and I used to use sort of those crayon type eyeliners, but I thought, oh, you know, you might as well multi-purpose some things. So I'm going to use this other green here, which is also dark. I'm just going to use a little bit, just tap it to remove the excess. And I'm just going to use that as the eyeliner underneath, just to add a bit of definition. It doesn't show very well in this lighting, but my eyes are actually sort of hazel to olive green kind of colour. I think I've got a tiny bit of creasing actually, just looking there. Some lines that I didn't know I had before. I'm just going to tap that out just to fix it, hopefully. Sometimes you can add creases where you didn't even notice them. Okay, so it's very, very fine creasing. I'm just going to get a brush and I'm just going to smooth that out. So what happens with creases is, like, especially in mobile parts, you know, like eyes are usually kind of more mobile. Yeah, I do feel like I've got rings around my eyes, but we've done our best. But otherwise, I feel like it's kind of glowy with the peach and terracotta kind of together. And also, it's just a hot flush. So I'm officially postmenopausal, officially, with my blood test. I had a hysterectomy in my early 40s, and it's kind of, you know, there was no way apart from blood test to show whether you're officially postmenopausal. So, you know, can have different things happen with you. Oh, mostly my mood disorder, officially diagnosed with. But anyway, you know, I'm still here, survived. It's getting a bit hot. I feel like I need to open the window. Anyway, I'll just show you what it looks like in the other light. So I'm not wearing any mascara because I can't be bothered, because then that's just an extra thing to take off again later. So this will take all of a minute to remove later. And just going to bring around, it's a greyish day again. So the lighting conditions different, grey, cooler, brighter facing the window. Thank you.